Here's something that sounds completely backwards. Japan is not the richest country in the world, not even close. And yet, Japanese households consistently save far more money than most Western households ever do. Not because they earn more, not because they're naturally better with money, but because they follow a completely different philosophy around spending. A philosophy most schools never once mentioned. And once you see these habits, you start realizing something uncomfortable. A lot of modern financial advice was never designed to make you wealthy. It was designed to make you consume. These 10 Japanese money habits do the opposite, and some of them are over 100 years old. Why Japan? Japan's average household savings rate is dramatically higher than countries like the United States. Even though the average household income is lower, that means this isn't an income advantage. It's behavioral, cultural, psychological. Japanese money philosophy isn't built around looking rich. It's built around avoiding waste, protecting peace, and creating stability quietly. Over decades, here are the 10 tiny habits behind that system. Habit 1. Kakeibo, the savings journal. In 1904, a Japanese journalist created one of the simplest budgeting systems ever invented. It was called Kakeibo, and unlike modern budgeting apps, it required no automation, no AI, no spreadsheets, just a notebook and a pen, because writing expenses by hand changes your relationship with money. Tapping a screen feels invisible, but writing, late-night food delivery, $42, forces your brain to confront the decision emotionally. That friction matters. Studies on Kakeibo users found significant reductions in impulsive spending because awareness itself changes behavior. Not guilt, awareness. Every night, Japanese households would write down what they spent, needs, wants, experiences, unexpected costs. Then, at the end of the month, they'd ask one question: what actually improved my life? Most people never ask that, which is why money disappears without memory. Habit 2. Mottainai, the shame of waste. There's a Japanese word with no perfect English translation. Mottainai, it roughly means, don't waste what still has value. But culturally, it runs much deeper than that. In many Western economies, consumption is treated like success. Buy newer, replace faster, upgrade constantly. But Mottainai sees unnecessary waste almost as disrespectful. Food thrown away, perfectly usable objects discarded, clothes replaced because trends changed, and financially, that mindset is devastating. The average household wastes thousands every year on things they already owned, but stopped appreciating. Mottainai interrupts that cycle. Before buying something new, ask, does what I already own still work? That single question quietly saves people more money than most side hustles ever will. Habit 3. Chokin. Save first, spend second. Most people use the same broken financial sequence. Earn money, spend money, hope there's something left. Usually, there isn't. Japan flips the sequence entirely. The moment income arrives, a portion disappears immediately into savings, before spending begins. This habit is called chokin, and psychologically, it changes everything. Because humans naturally adapt spending to whatever remains available. If your account says $3,000, your brain behaves differently than if it says $2,400, even when the difference was intentional. That's why discipline fails most people. Structure beats discipline. Every time. The Japanese system understands this deeply. It removes temptation before temptation begins. Not because people are stronger, because the system is smarter. Habit 4. Hara Hachi, the 80% rule. Okinawa has one of the highest life expectancies on Earth. And one of the habits connected to that longevity is simple. Hara Hachi. Stop eating when you're 80% full. Not stuffed, not uncomfortable, satisfied. And strangely, this principle works for money too. Most people treat income like something that must be fully consumed. Every raise creates bigger spending. Every upgrade becomes permanent. But financial stability often comes from intentionally leaving margin, living below your maximum. Imagine treating 80% of your income as your real lifestyle. and the remaining 20% as protection for your future self. That margin becomes investments, emergency savings, freedom, because wealth is rarely built from giant financial breakthroughs. It's built from consistent and used capacity. And here's the uncomfortable part. The next 5 habits are the ones modern consumer culture works hardest to destroy, because people who master them become much harder to control. Habit 5. Kaizen. 1% better every month. Most financial advice fails for one reason. It asks for massive change overnight. Budget perfectly. Cut all bad spending. Transform your life instantly. Humans don't work that way. Kaizen does. Kaizen is a philosophy of continuous small improvement. 1% better. Again and again. Not dramatic, not exciting, but incredibly powerful over time. Reduce food delivery slightly this month. Cancel one unnecessary subscription next month. Increase investments a little after that. Tiny improvements feel insignificant in isolation, but compounded over years, they completely reshape a financial life. And unlike extreme budgeting, Kaizen doesn't trigger emotional resistance. It quietly slips underneath it. Habit 6. Wabi-sabi. Beauty in imperfection. Modern advertising survives on one idea. What you have is not enough. Your phone is outdated. Your clothes are outdated. Your home is outdated. Your life is outdated. Wabi-sabi reject that entire framework. It's the Japanese philosophy of appreciating imperfection and age. The scratch table, the repaired bowl, the worn jacket that still carries memories. Financially, this mindset is revolutionary because consumer culture trains people to replace things emotionally, long before replacement is logically necessary. Wabi-sabi asks a dangerous question. Does this still serve me? If the answer is yes, its value still exists. That philosophy alone can prevent tens of thousands in unnecessary spending across a lifetime. Habit 7. Ikigai. Give money a purpose. Most budgets fail because they focus only on restriction. Spend less. Cut more. Save harder. But humans need meaning, not just rules. Ikigai means reason for being. The deeper purpose underneath your actions. And when money has no purpose, spending becomes emotional entertainment. Impulse purchases fill emotional emptiness temporarily. But when your finances are connected to a larger vision, freedom, peace, family, time, creative independence, every purchase starts competing against something meaningful. And suddenly, the unnecessary things lose power, because your money finally has direction. Habit 8. Usuji, the financial reset. Every year in Japan, families perform a deep cleaning ritual called usuji, not just physically, mentally too, applied to finances. This habit is incredibly powerful because financial systems decay quietly. Subscriptions pile up. Insurance costs drift upward. Unused memberships continue charging. Autopilot slowly becomes leakage. Most people never stop to audit the machine. Usuji forces a reset. Once a year, review everything. Every expense, every recurring payment, every financial obligation, and almost always, people discover money quietly disappearing in places they stopped noticing years ago. Habit 9. Mono no aware. Stop buying status. There's a painful truth hiding underneath most luxury purchases. The emotional high fades incredibly fast. Japan has a philosophy called mono no aware, the awareness that all things are temporary. And strangely, that awareness makes life more meaningful. Financially, it exposes the illusion behind status spending. The expensive car eventually feels normal. The designer item becomes invisible. The luxury upgrade emotionally disappears, while the payments remain. Consumer culture sells identity through possessions, but identity built on possessions constantly requires updating, which is why so many people become trapped financing lifestyles they no longer even notice. Habit 10. Hansei, monthly self-reflection. The final habit ties all the others together. Hansei, honest self-reflection. Not shame, not self-hatred. Awareness. At the end of every month, ask yourself 3 questions. Did I say what I planned? What spending genuinely improved my life? And what would I change next month? That's it. But most people never pause long enough to evaluate their own behavior. So the same patterns repeat endlessly. Hansei interrupts autopilot. And over time, small reflections create massive behavioral shifts. None of these habits require a six-figure salary. None require perfect discipline. And none were invented by modern finance influencers. Some are more than a century old. They survived recessions, wars, economic collapse, cultural change, because they aren't really about money. They're about restraint, awareness, intentionality, respect for resources, and respect for your future self. Modern culture constantly pushes people toward more consumption, more upgrades, more noise. But Japan's philosophy quietly asked a different question. Not, how do I look wealthier? But, how do I become harder to financially break? And those are very different goals. So now I'm curious, which of these habits hit you the hardest? And which one are you actually going to try first? Comment below and subscribe.